Opponent plays a Plains. Transmogrifies the 0-4 wall into Zeptala Primal Dawn. Oh my word, that is fantastic. I love it, for the record. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. I am glad to be here, and I am glad that you are here. Today's jank is in Historic, and we're talking gates. Okay, now keep in mind, this is a continuation of our budget series that we've been doing on Saturdays. I am really excited about this budget series because Magic, ever since its inception, has been accused of being a pay-to-win game. I resist this line of thought at its very origin point. I understand where the feelings come from. And I don't necessarily disagree with the way that that is the way it can feel sometimes. And there have been certain elements of it that have leaned that direction. But as with the previous decks we've played on this budget series, this deck is at least relatively competitive and being incredibly cheap, both in Arena here, which is of course our main focus on this channel, but also in paper should you choose to do that. I'm going to start by going over the deck, and then we're going to discuss why I made these deck choices. Shivan Fire. I thought this was a common, but it also might be an uncommon. Open the Gates, common. Guild Summit, uncommon. Gates Ablaze, uncommon. Volcanic Fallout, uncommon. Gatebreaker Ram, uncommon. Circuitous Route, uncommon. Archway Angel, uncommon. Gatekeeper Gargoyle, uncommon. Gate Colossus, uncommon. Then our mana base, commons, and all basics from there. So you will note, in previous iterations of the budget series, I have often allotted myself as many as 4 rares in the main. I did not do that this week. This deck is perfectly reasonable with actual 0 rares or mythics. And I'm hoping I'll be able to show you guys that in the gameplay. But, all right, so why these specific cards? And what synergies are we looking for? In this specific deck, everything has to do with if you have gates, or when you have so many gates, or do so much because of gates, or whatever. And those are all land gate. If you look down there, just under the picture, it'll say land gate. Whereas normally, like for basic lands, it's like basic land, island, basic land, forest, basic land, mountain, whatever. In this case, these are gates. Okay, so that's what all these cards are referring to when you say gate. Guild Summit. When it enters the battlefield, you can tap any number of gates you control, draw a card for each gate tapped this way. Whenever a gate enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This is one of the linchpins of this deck, folks, because this is one of the key things. Yes, oftentimes, if you have some really powerful bomb rare mythic, it's like a big old planeswalker or huge dragon or something like that, this one individual card is so powerful, it can take over the game all on its own. But one of the key ways you can overcome those individually really powerful cards is to just have a whole bunch of maybe a little less powerful cards, right? So Guild Summit being able to draw millions of, well, not millions, you know what I mean, like a whole bunch of cards, a key way to battle in our favor. So how do you get lots of gates? Well, of course, you play a land for your turn every single turn, right? And there are plenty of lands to play, so you do that. But on top of that, we do have Open the Gates. Search your library for a basic land or gate card, reveal it, put it into your hand. So even though we are technically on 24 lands, the presence of these Open the Gates makes it seem like we actually have like 28. Circuitous Route, though. Search your library for 2 basic land cards and or gate cards. Put them onto the battlefield, tap, shuffle your library. Now, no, okay, Circuitous Route isn't 2 basics and 2 gates. It's up to 2 in some combination of basic lands and gates. But the important thing is here, again, if you have Guild Summit, You cast Circuitous Route the next turn, go and find 2 gate cards, you get 2 lands out of the battlefield, and then draw 2 cards right off the top of your library. That is a lot of card advantage. So you can see how important this Guild Summit is to our game plan. Just keep putting lots and lots of cards in our hand, never run out of gas, hopefully. Okay, what are the other key synergies here? Gates Ablaze. 3 mana sorcery, deal X damage to each creature, where X is the number of gates you control. So normally when you're casting this for, let's say, 3 mana, you've got at least, give or take, 3 gates. So this is going to be 3 damage to each thing. But you get gates fast in this deck. You really do. So, you know, this can be deal 7, 8 damage or something, as many as necessary to all creatures, including yours, but not as big of a deal as you see in just a minute. And, you know, this gets really big really fast, scales well in the late game as a board sweeper. Volcanic Fallout just for can't be countered. So in counterspell heavy matchups like rogues, like mono blue tempo, and then just other matchups where you need board sweepers like goblins and mono red, Volcanic Fallout, very good. Gatebreaker Ram, +1/+1 for each gate you control. As long as you have 2 or more gates, Gatebreaker Ram has Vigilance and Trample. So this is a 2/2. And let's say you have 3 gates, it gets +3/+3, Vigilance and Trample. So it will be a 5/5, Vigilance Trample for 3. Pretty good deal. But also remember, our board sweeper of choice, Gates Ablaze, deals X damage to each creature where X is the number of gates you control. This gets +1/+1 for each gate. So Gates Ablaze doesn't kill our primary threat ever. If we have 10 gates, Gatebreaker Ram is a 12/12. Gates Ablaze deals 10 damage. Gatebreaker Ram survives our Gates Ablaze every time. Normally the problem with board sweepers is, yeah, you kill everything, but then you're tapped out. So now your opponent gets to advance the board first, right? No. Oh my word, this can be very, very powerful. Okay, beyond that, Archway Angel, really, really good in matchups where life gain matters. When it enters, gain 2 life for each gate you control. Again, it wouldn't be uncommon to gain 10, 12, even 14 or more life by the time this enters the battlefield. And it's a 3/4 flying. It will end the game relatively quickly. Gatekeeper Gargoyle, 3/3 flying for 6. Not great, but Gatekeeper Gargoyle enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter for each gate you control. By the time you're casting this, this is going to be at least a 7/7, 8/8, 9/9 flying for 6. Not so bad. Last piece and linchpin in the deck is Gate Colossus. This spell costs 1 less for each gate you control. Gate Colossus can't be blocked by creatures power 2 or less. And this next, and all of that's been great. You can regularly get an 8/8 for 0 mana in this deck just by getting so many gates out, and then this just comes down. But this is the most important text in the card, and we have not yet read it. Whenever a gate enters the battlefield under your control, you may put Gate Colossus from your graveyard on top of your library. So in those matchups where your opponent just keeps going like kill spell, counter spell, kill spell, counter spell, and you're just like, can I play the game yet? Please, can I play the game? Ah, yes. Just make land drops. Draw cards off the top of your deck. Oh, it's a non-land card. It's any of these cards. Play it. Your opponent counters it. Well, darn. That stinks, but that's 1 more counter spell out of their hand. Okay, so they, you draw another card off top. Oh, darn it, it's a land. Shoot. But if you have Gate Colossuses in your graveyard, play that land out, and now the Gate Colossuses, all of them, you can choose to put them from your graveyard on top of your library. And now for turn after turn after turn, you're going to be drawing 8/8s. Your opponent has to have a removal spell for each top deck for basically the rest of the game. And it can be very soul-crushing for your opponent for a change when they're in those kind of matchups. Very, very strong card. On top of that, it's also relevant. There are quite a few mill strategies going on right now where, like with the Ruin Crab, whenever they make a land drop, you have to mill some cards over. Whenever they have, like, whenever they draw a card, you have to mill 2, right? Or whatever. Teferi's Tutelages, things like that. These are kind of neat that way. You make your land drops and just keep putting these gates back on top, or Gate Colossus. Then yeah, okay, your opponent has to mill the gate, or often mills the Gate Colossus right back off. But it means instead of having a 60 card deck they've got to get through, oftentimes they'll have to mill through 80 or 90 cards before they ever get there. So actually kind of sweet indeed. This has been a little bit of a prolonged deck tech because there's a lot going on here, but I can't wait to get to the games. So come out and join me, and I'll see you there. All right, this is not great. 2-lander on the play. The hand is good if we draw another land. Will we draw a land? I don't know. Let's find out. This is almost certainly very unwise, but we're going to do it anyway. Oh boy, land, please. Please, land. Ouch. Aye, sure. Well, that's another guild summit. Unfortunately, it is not a land, though. This is going to go very poorly. We're apparently up against Grixis. They like to strangle you out of resources. We did draw our land finally. Okay, so we do have a shot. If we had missed another land drop, we likely would not have had a shot, for the record, but... Please? No. Alright. Alright. Hey, there we go. I guess it's going to be a Selesnya Guildgate and a Simic Guildgate. Get down another Selesnya. We now have 4 blue, 5 green, 2 red, 2 white. Thought Erasure, not great. Not great. All right, well, let's get some more lands out of our deck here. We're going to go for the Gatebreaker Ram, but we have no delusions. This is going to be removed. Our opponent's deck is built on having removal, right? They've also ignored it every single time. So that's typically a pretty good sign that, you know, they're not worried about it. We are now kind of selecting gates at random to get out of our deck so that we have more opportunities for good draws in the future. We do have an awful lot of land on the battlefield, so... All right. We're really hoping for a Gatebreaker. Not great. Gatebreaker. Gate Colossus. That's what we're hoping for here. I mean, sure, I guess. This is going to gain us approximately 25.5 bazillion life. I may not be great at land or math, but, you know, 25.5 bazillion life is much better than just getting it ripped out of our hand with another Thoughtseize or Thought Erasure, right? Opponent, Glimmer Genius, scry 2, draw 2, get 2 energy. I wonder what our opponent is doing with the energy, because the energy is just not good here unless, you know, this card isn't good. You would rather... Oh boy. Please? Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards? How about that? We don't mind discarding a couple. Yeah. So... let's cast a Gate Colossus. Put in a Plains. I don't actually think we want to draw more cards with Gates Guild Summit. So I think we're just going to go ahead and pass for now. Yeah, end the turn, discard Guild Summit. All right. Yep. This is fine. Omnisy is going to get a counter, sure. Censor going to get cycled away. Censor does not seem like it's very good when your opponent has, you know, 15 mana or something. All right, so let's... Yes. Put the Gate Colossus here, draw it. Cast it for 0, and Akatsuki says, nah, we're done here. We can't beat that. And for what it's worth, they are likely correct. Because, of course, we were going to be able to keep getting it back with the Guild Gates in hand. We were going to be able to go and find more Guild Gates. We didn't have a lot of Guild Gates left, but how many times are we going to need to cast an 8/8 before we can end the game? We were also going to be able to get down a Gatebreaker Ram and Archway Angel. So this game was going to end pretty quickly, and well before that, Omnisy was going to do anything. So GG, opponent, GG. All right. Yeah, folks, this is not amazing, but I think we're going to keep it. Lead on a Guildgate so that we can have Shivan Fire up in the early game. Opponent goes Plains, Plains. Oh, no. This is likely going to be the Pillow Fort deck with Solemnities and things like that, I'm guessing. Oh, wait, what? Interesting. What is going on here, folks? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, how about that? I'm not sure what's going on over there, but I am kind of excited about it. Our opponent discarded an Angel of Invention. I wonder if there's some kind of reanimation strategy going on here, or if this is just like a value champion wins. No. This has got to be. Our opponent wants to be eating cards in the graveyard. Otherwise, they would have just attacked here, right? Before casting Charter Course? Then you don't have to discard, right? Ah, Speaker of Heavens, sure. And a Hallowed Fountain. Interesting. Well, let's just get some pressure on. We're going to slam a Gatebreaker Ram. This is a 6/6 Trample Vigilance, folks. And of course, we're just leaving the door open for being able to Gates Ablaze next turn. Or possibly Gate Colossus next turn, either one. Wrath of God. Our opponent came prepared with their own big guns. Well, then I guess we're going to Guild Summit. While we're pretty sure it will resolve. And draw 2. A 3-mana draw 2 in the past has always been like divination, you know? This one being an enchantment and continuing to draw us cards later, very, very strong. Gate Colossus kind of countered by Lavinia. That is not cool. All right, so let's Gatebreaker Ram. Guildgate, draw a card. Pass the turn. I think we're gonna be Shivan firing Lavinia Azorius Renegade here. But we definitely want to give our opponent an opportunity to do it themselves. All right. 8. No. Okay. Well, we don't... Yeah, let's try Gate Colossus. Wow, it just resolves. Okay, we didn't want to get it countered, which is why we didn't Circuitous Route first, because, of course, if we make it cost 0, it will cost 0, and then it'll, you know, it'll go away. Alright, so we're going to discard a card. It's just going to be a mountain. We don't really need that mountain. The guild gates are still useful for getting back Gate Colossuses to the back or to the top of our library, gaining life, things like that, right? Opponent shocks and wow. Okay, this is a desperation move for sure. Well, let's see if we can go for the win here. Okay. No, see, if we had drawn like a Circuitous Route or something that would get the cards onto the battlefield, we could just, you know. Yeah, okay. Opponent seeing the writing on the wall. We were going to be able to Shivan Fire away the Lavinia for the win either way, but we could have made it a lot more simple for our opponent if we had just been able to cast the first spell. So, GG, opponent, GG. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are up against Juice. Good luck, Juice. And I think we are going to hang on to this. We've got Shivan Fire in the early game, Gatebreaker Ram in the mid game, and some Archway Angels late game. Hopefully we'll draw into other useful things as time goes along, but, you know, for now, this is a good place to start. Opponent on Yorion, not likely to need this Shivan Fire anytime soon, but, you know, different flavors of Yorion are different. And now with Panharmonicon in the format, being able to blink creatures and stuff, a ton of value, as if Yorion needed more value, right? But there are creature variants now where you could Shivan Fire away a creature. Instead, the opponent goes with Omen of the Sea, scries one top, one bottom, and pass the turn right on back. We're going to play our Boros Guildgate. It's going to enter tapped, and we're going to pass the turn. Oh, boy. We did not draw a land, folks. We needed to draw a land there really bad. Opponent just going to go ahead and snap off a counterspell on Gatebreaker Ram. It's a mystical dispute, and we're going to pass the turn. We needed to be able to get down... yeah, since... Well, all right. We at least got there this time. Since most of our lands are tap lands, missing a land drop can be really a huge, huge tempo disadvantage. As it turns out, our opponent actually also missed a land drop, which is really nice. All right, well, let's try and Circuitous Route. See what our opponent has to say. They do allow it to resolve. This is great. So let's go ahead and get down a couple of guild gates here. We're now on 7 guild gates. Shark Typhoon, gonna get cycled. Draw another card. It is a land drop, darn it. They did make their 4th land. This is annoying. All right, well, Gate Colossus for 0. How do you feel, opponent? They Essence Scatter. We're unsurprised by that turn of events. Well, we're going to follow it up with Circuitous Route then. Do you have a counterspell for this as well? No, it appears as though they do not. So let's go ahead and grab a couple more lands and put that Gate Colossus right back on top. Yes, please. Take the action. And pass the turn. We're not going to bother Shivan Firing this 1/1 right now. You know, one damage is likely not going to make or break the game, and I'd like to give our opponent an opportunity, because if they do play a Lavinia or something, that would be really annoying. Alright, opponent makes a land drop. Passes the turn. Alright, fair enough. Gate Colossus. It resolves just on the spot. All right, fair enough. We're not going to bother trying to resolve anything else. Not yet, anyway. Opponent cycles the Shark Typhoon. We're going to go ahead and shoot this one. Opponent draws a card, takes the turn right back. We take our one. Opponent wraths, shatters. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. Hey. How about a Gatebreaker Ram and an Archway Angel? We're going to gain a casual 20 life, up to 38, but unfortunately in this matchup, the life total really doesn't mean a whole lot, typically. Another Shatter, drawing us another card. Well, let's Gates Ablaze, bring back our Gate Colossus, sure. I'm sorry, not Gates Ablaze, please forgive me. Guildgate. We're going to get gain 22 life, up to 60 now. And again, the life total doesn't typically mean a ton, but it is better to have more than less, you know? So that part's good. Oh boy, our opponent was on Jeskai this whole time and just didn't have a land? No red land for our opponent. Up until now, that is weird. I wonder how many cards in their hand are actually red spells. They are eyeing this Archway Angel. Tapping their lands, adding Yorion to hand, passing the turn. All right, let's go ahead and get in. You got it. 3 damage directly on the face. They see the Gate Colossus coming, they let it resolve. Opponent going to sacrifice Omen of the Sea to scry a pair. 2 of them there scries. And opponent thinking it over. Getting real deliberate there. Goes bottom, bottom. All right, fair enough. Adds another card to hand for the turn. Now on 7 cards in hand, one of them being Yorion Sky Nomad. Currently nothing to blink with Yorion. So a 4/5 flyer for 5 is not the end of the world, but it's also not great, right? Well, all right, fine. Let's go ahead and get in. We're going to attack for a lot. Opponent drops to 6. All right. It's possible we were supposed to Gates Ablaze here, but we don't have a way of getting the Gate Colossus back just yet. And we do have lethal in play if they don't want to block with Nezahal, so. All right, opponent goes with some lettuce to grab a basic plains. Plays the basic plains. And casts the Yorion. Going to blink just the lettuce. Does blink the lettuce. Gets in with Nezahal. Does not get in with Nezahal. Lettuce comes back, gets a basic plains yet again, straight from the deck. And yeah, let's just get in, I guess. Yeah. These things are fine. All right, they're going to shock, so I guess we'll Volcanic Fallout. Opponent drops to 4. Gets a 0/1. Opponent plays a plains. Transmogrifies the 0/4 wall into Zeptala Primal Dawn. Oh my word, that is fantastic. I love it. For the record, opponent Essence scatters our Gate Colossus. These Gates Ablaze not going to do much here. Not going to do much at all. Opponent gains 2 life, up to 6. Plains for our opponent. Taps 5 plains. 6 plains. Casts an Ugin the Ineffable. Gets in for 8. Presumably makes a 2/2 here. Indeed. And thinking things over. Transmogrifies the 2/2 as well. Holy cow, what's going on here? Drakuseth, Maw of Flames, Heavens, 2 Murgatroyd. Alright, well. We're going to Guild Summit. Draw a bunch. Didn't quite draw as much as we were hoping for, but yes, take the action. Take the action. Gates Ablaze, away the Drakuseth. The Deptala, of course, stays. And we're going to get down a Gate Colossus. Doesn't do much all on its own, because Deptala, of course, has Vigilance and Indestructible, as well as being a 4/8, but double strike. Means they just get to block the Gate Colossus for free here. Stolen by Fate, getting 8 1/1s in the air. Heavens, 2 Murgatroyd. Ladies and gentlemen, our opponent Juice is doing it. Oh my word, I have no idea how on earth it's getting done quite the way it is, but whatever is getting done to us rather than to our opponent. So let's, I guess we can draw our card first. This is fine. All right, it's another Archway Angel, sure. So let's Gateway Angel, or I'm sorry, Gate Colossus, Gatekeeper Gargoyle. So we do have 3 individually lethal threats. And none of them can be removed by Ugin, because that can only destroy things that are permanents of 1 or more colors. So in this case, all 3 of them are colorless threats, right? Deptala gets in. Now, we're actually just going to take it here. Just in case our opponent's got something that can handle Gatekeeper Gargoyle, right? Please, please, tell me that our opponent isn't going to settle the Wreckages, because that would be very, very fitting here. I would be very chagrined, for sure. Please, Juice, just scoop him up. Please, don't settle me, bro. What is going on over here? 12 mana. What are you doing over there, Juice? I mean, it could be anything. We have seen some wild things out of Juice's deck, and for the record, I entirely approve. What they're doing so far has been insanely cool. But I have no guesses as to what it could be that our opponent is tapping mana for here. Shark Typhoon for 3. Drawing to another card. Omen of the Sun. To gain a couple of life. Doing a little scrying down to 1 mana. So far, not quite enough, folks. Bottom, and I think that might be GG. Because, of course, the Gate Colossus need to be blocked by things power 2 or greater. Right? So, yeah. Alright. Holy cow. That was a wild, wild game. Hats off to you, Juice. Oh, my word. That was awesome. I really appreciate the game, Juice. Jeez Louise. Fantastic. The John Likes Games jank stamp of approval definitely goes over there to Juice. So, GG. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and looking at the deck. And honestly, it performed pretty well. I do think some of our other decks, I would have been very, very confident bringing into ranked and just trying to rank up with them. I think this deck can easily get you to platinum if you play enough games. I don't know that you'll climb with this deck, this iteration of this deck, past platinum very well. On the whole, it did quite good though. We ran into a couple of really awkward situations where things didn't go great, but it was not bad. So not upset with the way it performed at all. I'm actually pretty pleased. The Gate Colossus into the milling thing came in handy a time or two. I'm not really sure about our Shivan Fires. It's possible these can be something else. They did serve their purpose several times, but it turns out there's so many degenerate things going on in Historic right now that, I don't know. I'm not really sure they were worth it. Maybe we can go a different direction or whatever in the future, but I was pretty happy with the way it performed in the abstract. It is notable, there were plenty of times where I just wish we had more Gatekeeper Gargoyles. We only went with 2 before because we wanted to make sure to have enough supporting cards. Shoot, man, this card was so good. I almost feel like you might want to go with the full 4. Definitely up to you and a deck building decision. But, okay, as is our, tradition here on Budget Magic, I try and give you an upgrade path. As it turns out, there just aren't that many gate synergies in the deck or in the client, so you don't have that much that you really need to worry about. Some people will be tempted to go for Glaive of the Guild Pact. Gets 1/0 for each gate you control, has Vigilance and Menace. It can be really good on the Gatebreaker Rams and stuff. We just don't have that many creatures. You look in our main, we're on 10, 14 creatures is all. These ones keep coming back, but they're all individually so powerful. If they're sticking around, you're typically in pretty good shape yet. So I don't think I would even bother with that normally. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't think those sorts of things are going to be necessary. One place you might go is District Guide. It gives you a few more creatures, so if you go the District Guide route, search your library for basic land or gate, reveal it, put it into your hand. It's a 3-mana 2/2 though. To me, that's on the low power level side. If it went to the battlefield, we would be having a different discussion, but it doesn't. It just goes straight to hand. If you were going to go with the Glaive of the Guild Pact, because it can be, holy cow, when your equipment comes down for 2, equips for 3, and gives your creature +10/+0, Vigilance and Menace, it's a defensible equipment, darn it. This is a powerful equipment. I can see going that direction, but if you were going to do that, I would think maybe District Guides would be you would want to be in your list. Beyond that, though, our other synergies are going to be going a different direction. It's going to be a little more of a full transition. Right now, we're in 4 colors because there just aren't any good black gate cards, in my opinion. But if you wanted to have an alternate win condition, and this is one of those places where the deck can actually get really fun, these are mythics. So you might have to have quite a few mythics to get this done, or 4 mythics to get this done. But Maze's End. Enters tapped, adds a colorless. Pay 3, return Maze's End to your hand, search your library for gate, put it on the battlefield, shuffle your library. Then, if you control 10 or more gates with different names, you win the game. So, this being just another land still gives you an alternate win condition. Now, yes, right now we've been able to filter out all of the black gates. So currently there is a black-blue gate missing, a red-black gate missing, a green-black gate missing, and a black-white gate missing. So that would dilute our mana base just a little bit and give us a little more problems with colors, but typically, honestly, it's not going to be a big deal. And those only need to be one-ofs, because you're going to go and find them with things like Circuitous Route, Open the Gates, and Maze's End. But it does give you a really sweet way of winning the game there. Alternatively, there is Plaza Gateway that can also come in, and it won't have a different name, so you'll still have some number of other black gates, but this is another way of getting additional gates onto the battlefield. It is a land gate. When it enters tapped, and you have to pay a colorless, otherwise you have to sack it. This is really painful in this deck because the lands are already tapped anyway, and this is like a double tapped land. It enters. You have to tap an untapped land, and now you have 2 taps, but it does tap for 1 of any color, so that's kind of nice. And does help with the Maze's End strategy just a little bit, padding those 1-ofs sort of thing. Alternatively, this is another really good card for the particularly the more aggressive matchups. So Gruuls, mono reds, even goblins to a certain extent, but rogues, things like that. They're all trying to beat you down really quickly. When it enters, if you control 2 or more gates, gain 3 life. Pretty easy to arrange, and notably, ladies and gentlemen, you'll notice all these other cards, they're all entering tapped. This one does not enter tapped. And it can tap to add 1 of any color of any type a gate you control could produce. So it is not a gate. Notably, this is just a land, not a gate. But whenever your land can gain you 3 life, that's really strong. And being able to be kind of a rainbow land, very, very nice. Unfortunately, it is a rare, so you'll have to worry about that. The other notable addition could be Golos, Tireless Pilgrim. When Golos enters the battlefield, search your library for a land card, put it on the battlefield tab, shuffle your library. So particularly, if you're trying to play with Maze's End, Golos, a very good rare to have in your deck. And it just, it finds you more gates and stuff, right? Also, notably, if you are diluting your mana base, remember having to add those black lands you're not excited about, there aren't any really good black payoffs, it's kind of a pain, you got to dilute your colors and stuff. No. Golos, though, gives you a way to pay 5, 1 of each color, and 2 colorless, so a total of 7 mana. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn without paying their mana costs, folks. Huge card advantage. Huge card advantage. So not only would it find you the gate, or Maze's End, but also allow you to cast more Circuitous Routes and Guild Summits and possibly Gates Ablazes, things like that, off top of your library without even paying their mana costs. So very, very strong. Indeed. All told, I had a great time with this deck. I highly recommend it. I think it was a lot of fun. I would say, I think it performed well enough. You could bring it to ranked, again, up to like Platinum or something. Probably not past that. And this is more of a play queue style deck for getting your daily wins and stuff. But it is a lot of fun doing some silly gate stuff. But I had a great time, and I will catch you next time.